Hello everybody and welcome to H Invests. Today we're going to be talking about how you can use the principle of compound interest to help build your plan to get wealthy. So in one of my previous videos I was talking about the power of compound interest and I illustrated exactly how there's a difference between simple interest and compound interest and how compound interest can really help you to build your wealth over time. If you don't understand what that is, I would recommend you go back and watch the video, The Single Greatest Advantage Young People Have in Today's Society. Okay, so we also looked at an example. So I took some metrics. I tried to make the example as realistic as possible for somebody who kind of understood compound interest when they were young. So basically he saved up $5,000 over the time that he was a waiter whilst he was studying. And then basically what Jim did was he started investing at age 21 with this $5,000 in an S&P 500 tracker in some ETF. And then he kind of saved some money whilst he was young, saved $300 every month, added that to his investment. And then when he was older, he saved $1,000 a month, taking into account increases in income, etc., etc. And I illustrated that would get him up to nearly $4 million by retirement. And what I wanted to do today is kind of go through the maths behind that example and show you how you can build a similar thing in Excel to help you with your retirement goals and your wealth creation plan. So yes, this is what I'm going to do. You'll need just 4 things. Microsoft Excel. If you don't have that on your computer, Google Sheets will be absolutely fine. It does a very similar job. You do not need a complicated understanding of the program for this, just a very, very basic understanding. Literally your age, an idea of your current level of savings, and targets for how much money you want to save in the future. Okay guys, I'll see you over on Microsoft Excel. Okay team, so here we are with Jim's investment performance over time. So you can see column A, Jim's age, column B, this is the current value of his portfolio at any given age. C is the previous year's value. I put that on there just to make it everyone easy to see the compounding technique and very easy to kind of calculate it and see what's going on. D is the monthly saving that he's adding to his portfolio. E is the yearly saving. So what I'll say with this is, again, just to make the calculations very simple, what I've done, because the return is on a yearly basis, also what we're adding to the portfolio is on a yearly basis. So the assumption is he's saving every month and then he's adding at the end of the year. That is not completely exactly how it might happen in practice, but it gives us a realistic enough estimate. And then you've got the yearly rate of return, and then you've got the years until the retirement, and this is the return of the S&P 500, the actual return from the S&P 500 over the last 45 years. So if Jim would have started this 45 years ago in 1975, this would have been the returns, and we can use this to predict what his returns would have been using this in a minute. So basically the calculations goes as follows. Year 1, you've got his yearly saving because that's all he started with, multiplied by the rate of return, which is this, always 10%. And then basically what we've got is then we've got the value of the portfolio. It's literally going to be calculated as the previous year's value because that's everything is made so far. Then you add on the saving and again, you've got the rate of return of 10%. And boom, there you go. And it's literally that. It's the same formula all the way down his ages until he gets to retirement age of 65. And there you go. There is the 3.86 million we saw in the PowerPoint presentation. One thing I'll actually mention is a lot of people might be saying, oh, so what if you use the actual return of the S&P 500, 10% a year is a bit unrealistic just because the S&P 500, we can see it here. It's had some really, really good years, right? But it's also had some years that haven't been so great. You can see here we had 3 negative years. This would have been .com, the big bubble, 2000, 2001 and 2002. And you can see, you know, these 3 years might actually knock a lot off the portfolio, but then we also had really, really good years. You're testing my knowledge now. I think this was 95 or 96. Yeah, this would have been 95, wouldn't it? You've had some really, really good years as well. So, okay, let's try this. Let's actually try, instead of using this consistent rate of return, if we switch this to G4 instead, then you've got this rate of return. And then what we do is if we drag it down, this will actually represent the years of rate of return for the whole S&P. And you can actually see that if Jim started with this 5 grand and used the S&P's return, he would have actually finished with 6 million, which is very, very impressive. So yeah, that's how you build. That's how you build something like this. You know, you can start off with your yearly saving. You can work out what your rate of return roughly is going to be, depending on whether you're investing in an index fund or you found some amazing fund you think is going to beat the index. You can play around with the rate of returns. You can play around with how much you want to add. So for example, like imagine if every month Jim was very, very conservative with his spending. If he managed to add, say, 500 in a month, can we make this equal to 500 up till there? Okay, that's perfect. So up to age 40, he's investing 500. That now makes a difference. Now he's got 8.6 million. So just by adding in 500 a month for 20 years, what's that? 500 a month, that's 6 grand a year. 6 grand a year over 20 years would only be 120K, but it's actually added in an extra 2.6 million, which just, again, it just shows you the power of the compound interest when it's compounded over time. You know, you put 120K in and you get out 2.6 million. It's absolutely nuts. Okay, so that's how you build one of these. I just wanted to kind of show you guys the practical formula if you wanted to kind of build it in Excel. As I said, very, very basic skills. If anybody's wondering, the green and the red, you don't have to do this manually. You can just do it in conditional formatting and go into highlight cell rules. But I'd recommend, if anybody hasn't seen it on Excel, there are plenty of great tutorials online. And yeah, I hope you found that, guys. I hope you found that useful. I've been H Invests, and until next time, happy investing.